Welcome back to her story. Got a lot of information, and not a lot of it necessarily meaningful. We've actually got 10 videos, only 5 that we can see on this Glasgow lead. So she drove to Glasgow the day of his disappearance.
So I got in the car and I drove. I just kept driving north. Just kept going, just wanted to get as far away as I could. When I finally stopped, I was all the way up in Glasgow. I was so tired. I just had to sleep.
Sleep where? And why? Glasgow's in Scotland, so she's presumably presumably from somewhere in England.
I got to Glasgow. I was exhausted, so I pulled over and slept in the car.
This is 9 p.m.
I woke up because a rubbish truck went past. I got some petrol, bought a coffee and a pastry, tried calling someone from a payphone, and then headed back. I got in the car.
This is like an hour later after that one. The rest of these are all in quick succession. So she puts her hair down sometime in the next hour. Or 2 hours? Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost 2 hours.
That's Simon's watch.
Watch.
It was a gift from Eric. He got it this year. It was a wedding anniversary gift.
So at this point...
It would have been Diane who chose it. She has really nice taste. That time, it must eliminate me. I was in Glasgow then.
Yeah, do you have any proof? Hold on.
Yeah, that's Simon's watch.
Let's just look up watch. Is that the only... There's a bunch of mentions of the watch. Alright. Alright, back to Glasgow real quick.
No, I don't think so. Glasgow was deserted that early in the morning.
Early in the morning. She said she turned around, didn't she?
When I arrived in Glasgow, I was exhausted. The streets were empty. I was driving badly. And I hit a taxi. Not a big crash, just paintwork. The guy was so pissed off because I didn't have a driving license on me. But when I told him I was pregnant, he made sure I got to the hospital so they could check me out. It was fine. The hospital must have details when I was looked at. There's a scratch on the car.
Okay, let's back up a little bit. Nothing more about Helen, nothing about Peter. Let's go back further because we still haven't done all these. Okay. Is it re-adding them to the list when I click on them from here? That's slightly annoying. It doesn't move them down, it just adds another one to the list. Okay, we got the information about... Did we get all the information about the bags? No. Okay, come back to the bags.
When will the police let me back in the house? They let me take a bag of clothes with me, but... Okay. I parked up in the street. It was busy, so I had to park down the end of the road. Walked up, knocked on the door, no answer. I took my keys out of my bag and unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. You can tell because the key doesn't turn when you try to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes in the shoe rack. I shouted out. I walked straight into the kitchen because he usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. But he wasn't there. I touched the kettle, it was cold. I looked quickly in the living room, nothing. So I walked upstairs to the bedroom and he wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. I had a shower. The phone rang whilst I was in the shower. I didn't answer it. I think it was Eric. Then I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, though I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. This time I spoke to him. Then I called Doug and Eleanor. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
So that's maybe when she gets back from Glasgow? She drives back, doesn't find it. Door's unlocked. His coat and shoes are gone. She still looks, which you'd think if your partner's coat and shoes were gone, you'd probably assume they had gone out. All right, let's see.
Okay. I parked up on the street. It was busy, so I parked down the end of the road. I walked up to the house. I knocked on the door. No answer. I took my keys out of my bag, unlocked the door. The main lock was unlocked. I could tell because the key wouldn't turn when I tried to turn it to the left. I walked in. Simon's coat wasn't on the peg. I couldn't see his shoes on the shoe rack. I shouted out for him. I walked straight into the kitchen. He usually sits in there to have a cup of tea and read his paper. He wasn't there. I touched the kettle. It was cold. I looked quickly into the living room. Nothing. I walked upstairs to the bedroom. He wasn't there. I didn't search for him because it was pretty clear he wasn't there. Then I had a shower. Whilst I was in the shower, the phone rang. I think it was Eric, his boss.
Oh, Eric's his boss. Okay, that wasn't included the last time.
And I was just exhausted. So I lay down on the bed and I fell asleep, but I didn't mean to. I woke up a couple of hours later and I was surprised to see no one in the bed next to me. And then I remembered where I was and what had happened. That's when Eric called again. I spoke to him. Then I called Simon's parents. And then I decided to come and see you. That enough?
That's basically almost word for word the same, which seems suspicious. It might not be. It could just be coincidence, but she's telling it either the next day or the day after. And she's either I mean, you'd think in this one she'd be more frustrated or something if they're telling her to rehash it again. Okay. What about the baby?
We spent the wedding night in a hotel in Brighton. It would have been too much to do more. We were saving for the baby. It was wonderful to be in a hotel, away from home, just alone together. Since then, we've always tried to get away for our holiday. We couldn't afford our own place. Simon dropped out of school, went full-time at the Glaziers. That was Eric's generosity. We moved in with his mum and dad. They had a spare room for us and the baby if it came.
We still need to find out more about this attic situation. I'm not sure who died. Are they her parents or... No, it was her parents who died by poisoning, allegedly. Because she talks about how it was... her dad knew all the mushrooms. But then she talks about how her dad grew mushrooms in the storage, right? In the storage area?
No. I lost the baby. I had a miscarriage at 8 months. We carried on living at Simon's parents until... well, it was only a few months after.
Let's just... no, I think I know what that one is. Let's see.
Yes. It was a shock to him. I mean, we never thought it was possible. I don't know what he... I mean, I hadn't decided whether to keep the baby. I wasn't really ready to talk to him about it.
Huh? Did she get pregnant a second time?
It was a shock to him. I mean, we never thought it was possible.
Or they weren't expecting it
I
because
don't
she
know what
has
he-
fertility issues or something?
I mean, I hadn't decided whether to keep the baby. I wasn't really ready to talk to him about it.
Okay. Let's instead of just having a bunch of keywords, let's see if we can get a through line. So let's see. Bunch of mentions of the attic. So is it her parents' attic or his parents'
Yes.
attic?
I inherited it from my parents, so it made sense to move back.
Okay.
Me and Simon. Felt like going back to old ways before the pregnancy. Reminded me of being a girl, the dollhouse in the attic, old things. We didn't sleep in my parents' bedroom for a long time. We decorated it as soon as we moved in, but it was another year before we started sleeping there.
Who was taking care of the house while she was gone? Hold on. If she was sleeping... I thought it was implying that she had been sleeping in the attic the day... Yeah, she came downstairs and they were dead. So how long ago was that?
Yes. I read a lot as a child and watched lots of TV. Then the doll's house we still have in the attic. It's kind of a fairy castle. We used to play up there and make up our own stories.
We? Sibling?
Could the hairs have come from somewhere else? I mean, could they... We have a lot of dolls in the attic. There's a Rapunzel doll with long blonde hair. Could they have come from there?
Blonde. Alright, is this a crime of passion? Did he find her, or did she find him with a blonde woman or something?
She recognized me from the window. She told me to come inside, and she hid me. They had made the attic into a place where Hannah could play. There was a dollhouse.
Hannah.
She hid me up there.
Is this more than
No
one
else ever
person?
went into the attic. It was her place.
Or does she have like multiple personality disorder or something?
I'm not sure where the dollhouse came from. I don't know if it was given to them or they inherited it.
She says them like it's not including her, and then other
It was
times...
so huge. It must have been taken up to the attic in parts and then reassembled up there.
It seems disassociative.
It's a beautiful thing. Wallpaper to scale, little furniture, the lights work, mirrors, beds, big duvets and pillows. We spent hours and hours playing in it, invented all these characters and families who lived there. We wrote paperwork for them all, passports, diaries, and gave them all really elaborate stories.
I mean, that's a little suspicious in the sense of like,
A moth got trapped.
could be
in
read
there.
as like
Left
oh,
lights
she's
on.
got practice telling stories or
It was making
something.
a horrendous noise. We tried to kill it, but it was tough. We ended up crushing it under a copy of the Arabian Nights.
It's a little spooky too, but probably a red herring. Let's see, Hannah? 18 entries.
My name is Hannah.
Oh, it is her name, okay.
H. It's Palindrome. It reads the same backwards as forwards. It doesn't work from Lyric though, it's not quite symmetrical, but well, I mean, you get the idea.
But-
Sorry. Hannah Smith, I live at 31 Gladstone Street.
31 Gladstone. Alright, that's a lot of information all at once. Oh, I guess I can just... I guess I don't know what how this is supposed to necessarily work. Alright, we're gonna take a break and come back and learn more about Hannah, including, looks like she takes a lie detector, but that stuff's bullshit anyway. Anyway, see you guys in the next one.